Hey kids, Mr. Little again. Hey, just wanted to touch base with you and give you just some real brief instructions on the expectations for your Newton's Law of Motion at Home assignment. Um, I know you may not think so, but anytime that you are in motion, whether it's to get up from the couch to get a glass of milk, or to go to bed at night, or to go outside and play with your friends, you are always exemplifying one or more of Newton's laws of motion. So for this particular exercise, we're looking for you to take a walk around your home, your yard, and your neighborhood. I know we got to get outside, all right, but just make sure you're safe, you keep your distance from others. But it's really important that you still get out, get some fresh air, get a little bit of exercise so that you don't get stir crazy in your house. Find at least two examples of each of Newton's laws. Think about how Newton's laws are constantly at work in your life every day. And I'm looking for two examples for each particular law of motion. Remember that that should add up to a total of six. So if you look down here, just real briefly, and I'll give you some indication of a refresher of what the laws are, but I think I'll go through the directions on this first. Okay, remember to put your first and your last name, put your class period, and then here it's a little bit different. You're going to upload one example of Newton's law of inertia. So you may want to go ahead and snap off a picture of what Newton's law of inertia means, where you see it out in the neighborhood, and so forth. And finally, what is Newton's law of inertia, and how did your example demonstrate that law? So instead of me actually going through each of the laws of motion, because I think that's going to give away too much information, I'm not going to go into detail on that. I've decided I'm going to go ahead and ask that you go back and look through the slides to refresh yourselves with each of Newton's three laws of motion. Additionally, you can even go back into Google Classroom and go all the way back and find all the material, all the resources relating to Newton's laws of motion to help you answer these questions. Okay, so if you look at that, that's Newton's first law. Newton's law of inertia oftentimes is called the seatbelt law. So I'm looking for Newton's first law in that particular instance for these first two questions. Okay, next one is Newton's second law. I want you to upload one example of Newton's law of force and acceleration. What is Newton's law of force and acceleration, and how did your example demonstrate that law? And then finally, the last one, if I can get my cursor to work, here we go. Upload one example of Newton's law of action-reaction, which in the classroom we called it Newton's third law because forces occur in equal but opposite pairs. So think about the rocket ship example that we used quite frequently in the classroom when we were talking about Newton's third law. So go ahead and upload one example of that you see, and then finally tell me what is Newton's law of action-reaction and how did your example demonstrate that law. In fact, I may go ahead and put another file that hopefully is my slide deck. I can go ahead and put that into week 5's remote learning, and you can access that to kind of guide you if you've forgotten a little bit of information in terms of what each of the Newton's laws represents. But other than that, kids, I hope you are doing awesome. Have a great day, and I will talk to you later.